Courtroom showdowns, name changes, and a Father's Day put-down for the ages. Here's what we know about the dramatic fallout between Brad Pitt and his children. In 2016, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were flying on a private aircraft with their children when an argument broke out. According to TMZ's report of the incident, Maddox Jolie Pitt tried to step in and defend Jolie. The exact details are unclear, but somehow Pitt and Maddox made physical contact. Pitt may have been drunk at the time. In the aftermath, an insider told TMZ that Jolie intended to divorce Pitt to keep their children safe.
We will always be a family, and we will get through this time and hopefully be a stronger family for it.
Pitt subsequently denied claims of child abuse during the plane incident, and an investigation from the LA County Department of Children and Family Services and the FBI found no evidence of abuse on that day. However, Jolie's accusations in the FBI report painted a grim picture, suggesting Pitt had engaged in a physical and verbal altercation with Jolie, with at least some of their children witnessing it. Nevertheless, back in 2016, an insider told NBC News, "He is emphatic that it did not reach the level of physical abuse, that no one was physically harmed. He did not hit his child in the face in any way. He put his hands on him, yes, because the confrontation was spiraling out of control." Meanwhile, the FBI report read in part, "The husband allegedly physically and verbally assaulted plaintiff and the children, who have experienced lasting physical and mental trauma as a result of the assault." Angelina Jolie's countersuit regarding the sale of her and Brad Pitt's winery shed new light on the plane incident, alleging that two of the Jolie Pitt children were involved in the physical altercation that day. The filing also claimed that Pitt had been physically abusive of Jolie before then, adding that she finally decided to leave when the kids got involved. In 2019, a source interviewed by Us Weekly explained that Maddox Jolie Pitt and Pitt had yet to reconcile. Discussing the estrangement behind Pitt and Maddox, they said, "Maddox hasn't been receptive, and for Brad, it's a tremendous loss." Other sources that spoke to Us Weekly in 2024 revealed more about how some of Pitt's older children reportedly feel about him. One source said, "They've struggled to forgive and connect with Brad since the divorce." The source added that it was difficult for the kids to see their parents at odds. Reportedly, Maddox and Pax Jolie Pitt don't speak with Pitt at all. Another source said, "Sadly, their rift has only widened over time. The boys found it difficult to reconcile with Pitt despite his repeated apologies and efforts to rebuild trust." And yet another source said, "Brad's relationship with Maddox and Pax is non-existent at this point, and he barely, if ever, hears from Zahara. Maddox was very affected by that incident, and he's taken it upon himself to be Angelina's protector."
When your children are your best friends, it's a nice life.
One key sign suggesting that Brad Pitt's relationship with his children isn't great is the fact that many of them have chosen to drop his last name from their own names. For instance, when Zahara Jolie Pitt pledged the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority in 2023, she called herself Zahara Marley Jolie. Additionally, Shiloh Jolie Pitt filed a request to drop Pitt's surname from her legal name on her 18th birthday in May 2024. According to an insider speaking to Us Weekly, Shiloh hired her own lawyer and paid for it herself. The youngest member of the Jolie Pitt family, Vivian Jolie Pitt, worked as an assistant and was credited as a co-producer when Angelina Jolie produced the musical adaptation of The Outsiders on Broadway in 2024. In the official playbill for the musical, Vivian was listed as Vivian Jolie. In June 2024, an insider told Us Weekly, "After years of legal battles, Pitt still isn't ready to give up on his children, but knowing his children are dropping his last name is upsetting." In 2023, the Daily Mail shared screenshots of a years-old Instagram story the outlet claimed had been posted on Pax Jolie Pitt's private Instagram account. The then 16-year-old Pax didn't seem to hold back at criticizing Brad Pitt in an angry Father's Day 2020 rant. The post showed a photo of Pitt winning an Oscar for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The caption read, "Happy Father's Day to this world-class ass. You have no consideration or empathy toward your 4 youngest children who tremble in fear when in your presence. You will never understand the damage you have done to my family because you are incapable of doing so." There hasn't been any confirmation from Pax or any of his family members that the post was really made by him. After the screenshots were shared, a source for The Sun said that Pitt and his 3 youngest children were still in contact and added, "He still sees Shiloh and the twins whenever he can, though not as often as he would like."
I don't want to, at this point, to be running from anything.
Reportedly, Pitt had to plan visits with them ahead of time and needed to be supervised when seeing them. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's custody battle began soon after the 2016 plane incident. During court proceedings in 2021, then 19-year-old Maddox Jolie Pitt testified in court. An insider told Us Weekly, Maddox has already given testimony as an adult in the ongoing custody dispute, and it wasn't very flattering toward Brad. They also said that Maddox only used Jolie Pitt as his last name on legal documents. At the time, Jolie reportedly didn't want him to drop Pitt from his name. Later in 2021, Us Weekly shared court documents from 2020 stating that 3 of the Jolie Pitt kids reportedly wanted to testify against Pitt too. The documents read, "The children whose custody is at issue are old enough to understand what is going on. The trial is necessarily going to impact them emotionally." Jolie also apparently wanted the judge in her custody trial removed since he had links to Pitt's legal team outside of the case. In 2024, Jolie was reportedly granted primary custody of the children who were still minors. A source told Us Weekly that Pitt was okay with the deal because it wasn't the full custody Jolie was gunning for. According to a different insider, Pitt will have visitation rights and is hoping to form a better relationship with his children. If you or someone you know may be the victim of child abuse, please contact the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4A-CHILD, 1-800-422-4453, or contact their live chat services.